What are reviews and why do they matter? Let's look at reviews from a marketing philosophy perspective. The big picture, not just that marketers and small business owners love to complain about reviews, but why does the whole review system seem like a swamp of hypocrisy? Fake reviews, competitors gaming the system, what's called review gating. And if you don't know what that is, I'll explain in a moment. Super annoying, pissed off customers who slam your business and really have a dramatically negative impact on it. Scammy reputation management companies. Meanwhile, the big tech companies, Google, Yelp, they threaten to ban you if you merely ask a customer to share their experience. I mean, what's going on? I'm Jason McDonald, and welcome to Marketing Philosophy, where we use philosophy to understand marketing and marketing to understand how customers think, compare, trust, panic, and occasionally actually buy your product or service. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "There are no facts, only interpretation," which sounds suspiciously like reviews of DUI lawyers or crime cleanup scenes. Today, we're going to explore what reviews are, how they actually work, why you as a marketer should and must obsess about them, and give you some tips on how to create a review solicitation strategy, that is, how to ask for reviews, that doesn't totally suck. Because the reality is that everybody has to solicit reviews, especially local businesses, even though it's against the terms of service to do so. Welcome to the swamp, Google style. First, let's just talk about why we care about reviews at all, especially Google reviews, but reviews on Amazon, reviews on VRBO, reviews on Yelp, you name it, wherever your customers write reviews. Like, why do you care? And what is the deeper philosophical question that reviews tell us about in terms of the human experience, right? So what do we mean? Consumers believe reviews. It's a known fact that consumers are very sensitive to reviews of products and services. They rely on reviews to make choices, but here's the funny and weird thing. First of all, they may not fully believe reviews. Consumers know that reviews are often faked or manipulated. They're skeptical about the review counts, the star ratings, and the authenticity of reviews, but they don't tend to write them. Most people use them, few people write them. And there's all sorts of weird things, like they believe strangers, right? What did Mama tell you? Don't believe strangers. But then we go onto a review site like VRBO or Airbnb or Google, and we look at stranger reviews and we take them seriously. And then you have the negativity factor of customers who really hate businesses, who trash them. And then you have this weird distinction between businesses, which we'll look at in a second, like a sushi bar, where lots of people write reviews spontaneously versus, say, a plumber, where not so much, versus a DUI lawyer or a crime cleanup scene company, not at all. You get to what's called the performative authenticity of the online culture. And what do we mean by that? That's a philosophical concept, that everybody in the system kind of knows that it's fake, kind of knows it's what's called kabuki theater. But Google pretends it's authentic. Amazon pretends it's authentic. You pretend they're authentic when you put those reviews on your website. Customers believe reviews, and everyone kind of knows the whole thing's kind of smells a bit off. So that's kind of the nature of the ecosystem. Secondly, let's talk about why reviews matter from a practical sense. So let's look at some reviews and let's kind of make some observations. First, let's look at a review for sushi bar. So I looked for sushi bar in San Francisco and just make the observation that Akiko's has 1,000, Maro Sushi has 1.1, Hakashi has 778. You can see the star ratings, 4.5, 4, and 4.5. So you can see that, first of all, reviews help them surface at the top of Google, and that for all intents and purposes, the ones that have more and that have a better star rating do better. And then, of course, consumers can go read the reviews. You can go over and look for the reviews and read them, and consumers read them. And most consumers are not smart enough to sort them in any way, so you see the reviews at the top according to the algorithm. So they're very important. But let's look at some different searches. Look at plumber. It's plumber near me, and you can see that the review counts dramatically lower, right? Flowmaster Plumbing is on page 1 of Google with only 2 reviews. 13 reviews for rapid fix. So people are significantly less likely to review a plumber. Now, go and look at DUI lawyer. And then here's something really weird, right? Think about it. Who on God's green earth really honestly wants to review their DUI lawyer? Hey, I was in a near fatal crash. I nearly killed everyone, but fortunately, they got me off. And now I'm going to leave a digital footprint about my bad behaviors. To be honest, smart people do not leave reviews of their drunk driving experience on the internet. Who is leaving reviews? Either not so smart people or fake reviews. That's the reality. Now, look at crime scene cleanup service. It's the same kind of dynamic, right? I mean, who is really leaving a review of their crime scene cleanup? And yet, if you're looking for such a service, you're going to look at the reviews and read them. So there's this weird discrepancy between who writes them and who reads them, and different businesses act differently. So they matter a lot, but they're kind of funky in general, and they're very funky in certain, shall we say, non-performative services like DUI lawyers or crime scene cleanups. Okay, now let's dive into the meat of the philosophical problem. Why are reviews problematic? Like, what are the problems? So we've talked a little bit about this already. So first, the basic contradiction. Customers believe them or rely on them, but few people actually write them, especially outside of like fun businesses like sushi bars, right? So you have this weird contradiction. Who reads them versus who writes them? Kind of strange. Secondly, you have a swamp of fake reviews, or at least solicited reviews. A lot of reviews are fake. Companies do unethical things to get reviews. There's differences amongst industries in how this works. Being well reviewed on Google is not necessarily reality. That's the reality, right? There's a lot of fake reviews solicited. Okay, different business types. We've already explained this. Some business, this is something question for you. Are you more like a sushi bar, or are you more like a DUI lawyer? And that's going to impact the kind of reviews you can get. Angry customers, right? The most likely customer to review you is the pissed off customer, especially if you're in an industry like plumbing. My plumber fixes my toilet. I don't exactly go, oh, wow, my toilet's fixed. I'm amazed. Let me take a selfie and put it on Instagram and let me write a review, right? It's not that likely that I'll write a review unless I'm solicited, right? But let's say they screw my toilet up, it doesn't work, it's the weekend, it overflows, then I'm really pissed off. I'm much more likely to write a review. So there's a discrepancy that the angry customers are the most likely people to write a review. The final just kind of like blast in the water is the terms of service. All of the platforms, Google included, essentially say you can't solicit reviews, especially doing something like review gating, where you figure out if they're going to write a positive review by maybe a pre-survey. And then if they are, then you ask for a review. And if they're not happy, you don't ask for a review. So the terms of service, Yelp being a really egregious example, are you can't ask for reviews at all. But if you don't ask for reviews, you're going to get angry customer reviews for sure. Your competitors are probably soliciting reviews, and customers rely on reviews. You're kind of screwed if you don't violate the terms of service. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's really the crux of the problem at the core of the review system. And the performative authenticity is that everybody knows this who's in the system, and no one does anything about it, because I'm not sure that anything can be done about it. No one does anything, but you as a marketer need to understand how it actually works versus how they claim that it works. Okay, now let's talk about some practical tips for you. First and foremost, if you are in a business that depends on reviews, ask for reviews. At that point of happiness, your toilet has just been fixed. The plumber should say, hey, do me a favor, write me a review. At that point of happiness, you've just eaten the pizza. It was delicious. It was amazing. The waiter says, please write us a review. Educating your team to ask for reviews is incredibly important. Just asking makes a big difference in your review marketing. You want to create an internal measurement system. How many reviews do you have this month? How many reviews did you have last month? So you can see, hopefully, your improvement. And you want to make reviews a priority for your business. Another tip, you want to incentivize your employees to ask for reviews. Give them a bonus if they are mentioned in a review. Get them some sort of benefit. If it's just a pat on the back, but get them some kind of benefit when they get a review for your company. Is this a violation of terms of service? Of course it is. Everything is a violation of TOS. Finally, you might think about incentivizing customers to write reviews. Businesses do this. Yes, it is a violation of terms of service. I would not put it in writing. I am not recommending you do it. Don't sue me. I'm not an attorney. But the reality is most successful businesses incentivize customers to write reviews. They give them something. They give them a Starbucks card. They give them a 10% discount. They give them some swag. They do something to incentivize customers to write reviews. Just don't be stupid and get caught. Let's be honest. Everyone is doing it. Yes, it's like high school. You can't fight the crowd. You've got to accept the reality that the review game is pretty rigged and it has some unethical elements. And you may have to internally sell this to your team. It's kind of a sticky wicket, but welcome to the human experience and welcome to this concept of performative authenticity. That people know the review system is rigged, but everybody lives in a corrupt system anyway. It's kind of weird. It's kind of interesting. I love it because it's weird and it's crazy. All right. Finally, if you go to the landing page, you'll see recommended resources where I have listed some practical resources for marketers on how to deal with the review problem. I've also listed a really funny video by a wonderful YouTuber called Ryan George that I recommend you watch just because it's hilarious. What are your to-dos and takeaways? First, do reviews matter for your business? Yes or no? Figure out which platforms. You want to measure your reviews where they are, the number of reviews that you have, and the star ratings. You measure that and keep track of that. You want to accept the kind of corrupt ecosystem around them, and you need to create a review solicitation strategy that works for your business. So that's a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something about how the review ecosystem works. Go out and get some good reviews for your business. I'm Jason McDonald. This has been Marketing Philosophy. Thank you for watching.